Hello and welcome to another episode of The Nice Knit, a podcast where we talk about knitting and it's nice. All right, so I have been doing a lot of knitting lately. A little over a week ago, I broke my rib, which I mentioned. If you watched the last video, you heard a little bit about that at the end of the video. But basically, my horse kicked me. I broke a rib. Not a big deal. I did have to spend the night in the hospital, which I'm still not sure why. But everything's fine. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm a little sore, but like for breaking a rib, way better than I thought I'd be. But I'm not allowed to do anything. Like I have a lift restriction of 15 pounds. If I get up and walk around for too long, I just get really, really tired. And so all I've been doing is knitting. Like any chance that I have or any chance that I get, I'm just knitting because that's the only thing I can really do right now other than take short walks. And like I can run errands and stuff like that. But as far as like entertainment, all I can do is knit. So I've been doing a lot of knitting. I've been doing a little bit of sewing. And that's it. So to start, I want to show you this sweater. So you may, if you've been on the channel for a while or you've like watched all my videos recently, you may recognize this sweater. This is the Serene sweater, and I will put I'll link all the pattern information in the description box below. But this sweater is the very first sweater that I finished, and I finished this in January. This is Eddie Bauer Woolpaca. I can't remember what the colorway is, but it's like a white or an off-white. I think it's just off-white. And that is it. And I love this sweater, but I realized that the style is not really my style. Like I did not realize that this is just not a style that I would reach for a lot. I'm more of a cropped sweater kind of gal with puffy sleeves, where this is a pretty long sweater and it has straight sleeves with no cuff. Also, this sweater was incredibly hot, especially with the neck being a turtleneck. So I just, at work, when I planned on wearing it, I just didn't wear it a lot. So what I ended up doing was giving it to my mom, and she wore it a lot over the spring. However, she's the opposite of me. She loves a really long torso, and it wasn't even a crop torso, it was just a regular long torso. It was still a little bit too short for her. So what I did after I got kicked and ended up, not having anything else to do, I decided that I was going to try my hand at removing the bind off. And it was just the regular bind off where it's like a stretchy bind off where you knit two and then you knit them together kind of thing. But I picked that out. I repicked up all my stitches and I added an extra 2.5 inches. So it was 2 inches knitted and then it became 2.5 inches after blocking to the body of the sweater. And so I'm considering this another finished project because that was a hurdle that I didn't know if I was ready to cross. Like I didn't know if I was ready to jump it because I had never taken something that I had completed and removed the bind off and added to it. And I was kind of intimidated by it, but it went really well and it was super easy. And so now I have, for the second time this year, a completed Serene sweater. And you'll see that I haven't woven in my ends. And that is because I want her to try it on and make sure that it is long enough before I weave in my ends. Because if she decides she wants to add another inch to it, it's way easier to do that if I haven't already woven in my ends. But I'm considering this a done project. And once she tries it on this weekend and if she gives me the go ahead that it's the right length, I will weave in the ends there and it'll be done. So I'm considering this my completed project for this podcast episode because I completed it, but then I had to redo some things and I completed that, and weaving in the ends, I've only got a couple, so it won't take very long. But yeah, finished Serene sweater. Again, it still has, for those of you wondering, even though it's been washed and worn, there's still faint signs of little Theo paw prints on it, and I think they may just live there forever. It's on the back of the sweater, and it's Theo's contribution to the art, so I don't mind, and I don't think Mom cares. So yeah, finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is a skirt that I recently made. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I did post a video about it I believe it was just last weekend. So if you're interested to see the process of me making this skirt and see what it looks like on, go ahead and watch that video. I will attempt to link it above. However, I'm not super good at that. So if you don't see it above, look in the description box. It'll be there too. But yeah, this is the skirt. I just used a simplicity pattern. This is the first skirt that I've made and my first piece of sewed clothing that I've made that is actually wearable, that I will actually wear. So I'm pretty excited. So if you're interested in learning more about that process and, you know, the struggles that I had making my first item from a sewing pattern, feel free to check that video out. But that is my second completed object. And then my third completed object is another sewing project, and this is a bag that I made to hold all of my filming gear. So my tripod actually fits in here, along with the things that, like the case for my mic. So yeah, this is just a cotton fabric. It's called Siesta Birds, and I think quite possibly the person who named the fabric maybe meant to write Fiesta Birds, but because these don't look too much like siesta birds to me, but I'm obsessed with this fabric. I have a ton of it. I think I had 5 yards, and then I've used probably a quarter of a yard to do this and another WIP that I have to show you. So I still have like 4 and 3/4 yards left. So I may make myself a shirt because it is really soft, and then interfacing, and then a zipper. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. This is my first bag attempt, and I feel like it went really well. The ends inside are a little bit atrocious, but we don't have to talk about that. It's just to hold my filming stuff. So this is my final completed project. So I've had 3 completed projects as of the last time we talked last time we had a podcast episode. So now let's talk about the thing that I actually want to talk about in this episode, and that is all of my WIPs. So if you recall, and if you've watched a lot of my videos recently, or like, I don't know, I think I started talking about this maybe in February, but this is the Adorable Grace sweater, and this is by Adorable Knits, which is Dorothy Officiers. I apologize, Dorothy, if I butchered your name. But this sweater has been an absolute labor of love, with an emphasis on labor. So all of the body, the last time I showed you this, I had all of the body done. The sleeves were on hold, but the sweater was about that long. Sorry about that. I had decided to do a super cropped version of the sweater, and so I only knitted about 1 inch in 1x1 rib, and then I bound off. However, I struggled to bind off with the Italian bind off because I was holding a strand of Woolpaca with a strand of Surrey Stratus baby alpaca, and turns out that yarn combination is incredibly sticky, which makes it really hard to pull through in order to do an Italian bind off, which is what the pattern called for. So what I ended up doing was my regular bind off, where you you move one over to the needle, you knit 2 together kind of thing. And it turned out to be like a lettuce hem. It was very wobbly because the bind off that I used was more suited for a knit fabric, not a 1x1 rib fabric. So it just looked funky, and I wasn't happy with it. And I decided at that point, I can't remember I think this maybe been in March. I decided at that point that I was going to put this sweater in timeout because I was frustrated about the way that the ribbing looked. I wasn't sure that I was happy with the fit of the length. I even blocked it. You can see, put that back down. You can see right here, there's a distinct line. So all of this I had blocked to see the length. And then I just kept knitting after I blocked it and realized that it wasn't long enough. So when I block this will look better. But I was just unhappy with the sweater. So I decided, instead of trying to work on it, I would just put it in timeout, let it do its thing, let it sit, let it marinate, and then maybe when I was ready, I would come back and address the sleeves and address the ribbing down here and see if I wanted to fix that or if maybe it would block out. So then after I got hurt, I decided that I wanted to put a lot of effort into this particular sweater because I was like, now's the time. I don't feel like casting on anything new right now. I just want to get some WIPs completed because I have more than I would like to have on the needles right now. I think I have 11 or 12 WIPs at this point, and I wanted to get some things done, which is really cool because this is the first time that I've been motivated to finish projects. Usually all my dopamine comes from casting on, so I'm pretty pumped about this. But so I picked this up. I picked up the stitches around the sleeves, around the armholes, and then I knitted the sleeves. I knitted the cuffs just according to the pattern instead of trying to improvise. If you hear fireworks, I'm so sorry. The neighbors are very patriotic, and they've been setting off fireworks all day, every day for a week now. But anyways, so I didn't try to improvise or do anything like I did here. I did it exactly according to the pattern, and then I attempted the Italian bind off. And my thought was, if I was able to figure out the Italian bind off for the cuff, then I will possibly consider redoing the Italian bind off on the hem. But what I did this time, which I think is what saved me, is I actually dropped the Surrey Stratus, like this, the light strand, the small strand, and only did the Italian bind off with the main yarn, which is Woolpaca. So it's alpaca and merino wool superwash. And I was able to do it. I was actually able to do it really easy. I followed the Petite Knit tutorial that she has on her website for how to do an Italian bind off. And I was able to do it really easily. And like, I actually enjoy the process with just that one strand of yarn and not holding these two together. And I think it was just this one alpaca strand, the Surrey Stratus alpaca strand, that was making everything stick, which is why I couldn't get it to work for my bind off for the hem. In the process of doing this is when I actually ripped this back and fixed it. And so I was really confident about being able to rip a sweater back, rip the binding off, and reattach my needles and knit more. And so then I was like, well, okay, that looks really good. Like, I really like the way that looks, so I'm gonna try it for the body. And I think what I'm going to do, now that I've seen how long this is, I wanna add length here, and I think it'll still be really nice. And so what I ended up doing was, it took me a couple of hours to rip back all those stitches and re-pick up my hem, but then I just knit, and you can kind of see, like right here, there's a little bit of a line. I think that'll block out. If it doesn't, I don't really care. And I knit 1 by 1 rib until I got to the 3.75 inches that the pattern calls for. And then I did 2 rows of double knitting. And then I did the Italian bind off while dropping that Surrey alpaca strand. And it was easy. It took a while, because if you've ever done Italian bind off, it's not a fast process. But I actually enjoyed it. It went really well, and it looks so good. It looks so good. It looks so much better. I'm so glad I actually listened to the designer. Turns out she knows what she's doing. And I'm so glad that I added this extra length here that the pattern originally called for. And so now, and you can see I've already got it picked up. Now I just need to finish, sorry, I don't know where my voice is going. Now I just need to finish this one sleeve, and we'll be good to go. We'll have a completed sweater that I can wear this fall and winter for class, and I can wear it to work. I'm so excited. Also, I want to shout out to a subscriber, Max6050. Thank you for mentioning the Rook bind off. I did not end up using it for this, but I have a couple of 2x2 rib patterns that are coming up that I am going to definitely use that bind off for. So thank you for telling me that. Shout out to you. Very excited for that. I actually want to kind of take a deep dive into different types of bind offs and like cast-ons, more for my own knowledge, because I just don't know very many. But I may chat about that in an upcoming video, just as like, not as a I'm teaching you things, but as a here's what I've learned kind of thing. But yeah, I'm really excited. This is going to be wearable. It's going to be hot though, I will tell you, because it's the same yarn with this, with an added strand of alpaca. So it's going to be pretty warm. But I think even though it's going to be really warm, I think the style that I've made it in is going to be more wearable for me. And I may just have to reserve it for the coldest days of the year, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Or like if I want like a sweatshirt kind of sweater as opposed to like a light sweater. But yeah, that is my gray sweater update. I can't believe how fast the arms knitted. So I expect that I'll have this done by next week. So hopefully when I do another podcast episode, you will see a completed version of this sweater. It's like 90 degrees out, so I may wear it for like 5 minutes and then change because it's way too warm to have a big heavy sweater on right now. But that is my most exciting work in progress. My next exciting work in progress is actually something you have never seen on this channel. And the reason for that is it is for my mom, and I gave it to her for her birthday. However, I gave it to her not completed. And I did that because first of all, I didn't have enough time to get it done before her birthday, but also because I wanted her to try it on and tell me if I was ready to split for the sleeves or if I needed to knit a little farther. But I couldn't show it on the channel because my mom watches every single one of my videos. Hi, Mom. And so I couldn't share it as a work in progress when I started it 2 months ago, or maybe it's 3 months ago now, because she would have seen it and she would have like wondered if that sweater was for her, or like she would have really liked the sweater. And I just didn't want to give the surprise away. So it's a little hard to see because I've got needles that are a little bit too short because I'm getting ready to split for the sleeves. But this isn't entirely improvised other than how the short row shaping went. This is an entirely improvised sweater based on one of the sweaters that my mom already has. So she has this brown sweater, and if I can find the picture, I will put it on the screen, that she really likes. She loves the way that it fits. The fabric actually feels a lot like this yarn. And it's a knitted sweater. The only difference is it's machine knitted and pieced together, where I'm doing this as a top-down seamless raglan. But she really likes that sweater, but it's getting super thin. And so what I did was I laid it out, I took measurements, and now I am replicating that sweater using, let me see if I can find it, this yarn. And this is Drops Air. Specifically, oh, it's not gonna tell me what color. I think this is like Dusty Rose, if I'm remembering correctly. But this is what that looks like up close. And so I ordered a bunch of this and then just started knitting. So up here we have 2x2 rib. And of course, when I block it, this is gonna relax out a little bit. And then I am just knitting it like a traditional raglan. I used the same short row shaping technique that the gray sweater uses because I love that specific short row shaping technique. I love the way she walks you through it. It's really intuitive. So that's what I use to create this sweater. And this is actually the front. I've been showing you the back. This is actually the front. Not that you can see a whole lot because the needles are too small or the cable is too short to show you what it really looks like on. But I have about an inch left before I can split for the sleeves, and then we're just doing the body. And then I'm doing straight sleeves just like I did for this sweater because she really liked the way that this sweater fit her on the sleeves. So we're just gonna do the same thing on this sweater. But all of it is improvised except for that short row shaping because I just did it the way that this sweater called for. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to my voice. But yeah, so this is Mom's birthday sweater. I have not named it, so if you have any name recommendations for this specific sweater, please let me know, because I like to name my sweaters, or I like the designer to name them, and I just use the designer's name. That white one is the Serene sweater. This is the gray sweater. But yeah, this is my latest WIP that I am going to return to very soon. Once I make some progress and finish this sweater, I'll probably start picking up and knitting this again. But I hope to have this done for Mom by the time the weather changes and she needs to be able to wear it to work. But yeah, this is my birthday sweater for my mom. So yeah, I've been dying to share this particular project with you because this yarn is just lovely to work with. I'm really enjoying it. It's so like buttery soft, and it's like Not a lot of stitch definition, but it's not so fuzzy that you can't see what you're doing. But I knew that if I shared it, Mom would have questions. So I decided that I was just gonna wait to give you that update. But yeah, that is as Mom's sweater that she will have eventually. I always tell my family when I knit something for them that they will get it eventually, but I'm not going to tell them when they're going to get it because as you probably have realized, I am a very distracted knitter and I will knit several projects at once, which means that not a lot of effort or not a lot of progress gets made on one particular project. But focusing on this for now, and then I'll shift my attention. The next or the last knitted work in progress is my cotton candy sweater. I don't remember where we left off with this. I can't remember if I had already started knitting the body or if I had just started, but I have been working on this intermittently. I've probably added an inch or two to it, so not a lot of progress to update you on. But this is knit and crochet cloud packa with one row of the same yarn that I used for Mom's sweater, but it obviously in just a yellow color. I think it was like popcorn yellow or something like that. And so this is what I've got so far. Have lots of ends to weave in. Not a whole lot of update to give you here. I've just been working on it. But the bulk of the sweater is in this beautiful pink color. And again, it's knit and crochet, which is, or was, I suppose, a Joann's brand. So yeah. Lovely folded 2x2 rib neckline. It's a little wider than this neckline. And this sweater is based on this, but I'm knitting it in a larger size. So I'm doing some improvising, but I'm basically making a gray sweater with some extra layer-me details. So I feel like every sweater that I make, I get closer to the sweater that I actually will like to wear. And I didn't realize that that was like a learning process you have to go through. So if you have not yet knit a sweater, and you're afraid of knitting a sweater that you won't wear, don't be, because that's part of the process. Like that is a learning thing. And maybe you're just more in tune to your own style than I am, but it's taken me a little bit to figure out like what kind of sweater would I actually wear. All of these other sweaters, they look beautiful on the model. They look beautiful when they're made by like that the designer has knit or on the designer. That doesn't mean that I will wear it, and that's been a hard thing to learn. But this, I think I will actually wear, however I know that it's really hot, and so I probably won't wear it as often. Where this is a little looser fabric, it's an oversized fit, so there's more airflow, so this I'll probably wear quite a lot. But I'm really excited to have this done. I don't know in what order I'm going to do all these things, but I'm hoping to have this sweater done by the time it gets cold out also. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then my last work in progress is another little sewing project, and this is another little bag. It is the same pattern, which I'll show you, that I used to create the bag that I keep my filming stuff in that I showed you earlier. And I just used the scrap remnants from that fabric to work on just a small square version. I wish I would have centered the toucan, but since I was using scrap fabric, I didn't have a lot of options. But basically, I'm sewing this to fit inside of this. Sorry, it's a little floppy. To fit inside of this guy so that I can keep my mic in this and all of the mic accessories in this little bag so they're not free floating in this big bag. And you can see because I don't have my tripod in there right now, it's a little floppy. Something that I learned when I made this bag that I applied to this bag was that the interfacing or the lining that I chose was too floppy. Like it says a lightweight interfacing, but apparently the interfacing I got was super lightweight. And so instead, for that pattern, I followed this simplicity pattern. But for that particular bag, I only put, as per the pattern, I only put interfacing on the back of the main fabric. But when I made this bag, I put it on both the back of the main fabric and on the lining fabric. And so when I sew them all together, there'll be 2 layers of interfacing instead of just 1. And I think that's going to make a significant difference because the only thing I don't particularly love about this bag is how floppy it is. It has very little shape. Like the interfacing didn't do a whole lot to add structure or shape to it, but this is way less floppy. I mean, you can see already that it's holding its own shape pretty well. It's still bendable, but it's not as bendable. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, simplicity pattern. I bought all this stuff when Joann's was going out of business, just so that I would have it. And yeah, so I just need to finish this project. I need to sew the lining fabric and the back and the main fabric together. And then I'll actually like piece it together with these go on top. And then I have a yellow zipper to go with it. That won't take very long. I just, at the moment, it's kind of painful to lean over and pin things. So that's not really something I'm working on too much right now. I did finish that first bag with my rib injury, but it was painful. And I decided that maybe I should just knit from now on. But that is all I have in terms of finished objects and work in progress. I do have one upcoming project that I would love to get your advice with. So I have a friend who was gifted this yarn, and I've got 3 little skeins of it on a trip to Iceland. So some of her friends went on a trip to Iceland and they brought her back this yarn. But she does not knit or crochet anymore, and I'm not sure if she ever did, to be honest. I don't actually know. But she has this yarn that she's not doing anything with. So she gave it to me. But what I would like to do is I would like to take it and knit her something and give it back to her. So if you have any project ideas for what I could do with this yarn, I would love to hear it. So this is, and I honestly don't know how to pronounce some of this, but it's Icewear Garn, baby wool 100% merino, and these are 3 50-gram skeins, and each skein is 191 yards or 175 meters. And I'll put some pictures up. But if you have any pattern suggestions for this particular yarn, I would love, love, love to hear it. It takes 2.5 to 3 millimeter knitting needles. I am assuming this is probably either sport weight or maybe DK, but probably leaning more on the sport. Actually, this could be even closer to, I take that back. I'd say this is probably closer to like between fingering weight and sport. Just because it's calling for 3 millimeter needles, like 2.5 to 3 millimeter, which is pretty small. I don't see a size on here though, but that would be my guess. I don't know, let me know if you think I'm wrong, because I may be, I have no idea. I'm still new to this kind of stuff, but her only request is that she's not really a like shawlette kind of person. I don't know that she would use like a kerchief or anything like that, but anything else is on the table to do with this beautiful yarn, and I'll put all the yarn information if you are interested in giving suggestions so that you have that. But yeah, I would appreciate any pattern ideas that you have, because I have no idea what to do with this yarn, but I do want to knit her something with it so that she will still have this yarn, but it'll be usable and functional instead of just, you know, holding on to 3 little 50-gram skeins of yarn that she's not using. But all right, I think that's all I had. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go back to see my family today and get out of the city. My dog is terrified of fireworks, so it's been a really rough week. And tonight is the 4th. Today is the 4th. Happy 4th of July. It is going to get extremely loud. Like my neighbors across the street have a whole tent set up, and they've already started moving all their fireworks outside, and it looks like a war zone out there. So I'm getting out of the city so that Theo and I don't have to live through it. I don't hate fireworks, but I don't enjoy them very much. I used to when I was little, but ever since I got Theo and Theo's afraid of them, it really kind of makes it hard when your pet that you love so much is terrified of fireworks and gets stressed out. It makes it no longer fun for you either. So we're gonna get out of town. I'm gonna post this video. I'm gonna edit it and post this video so you'll have it tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, all right. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you liked this video, please feel free to give it a like. If you want to hang out more, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you later, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.